And we're back. I'm Emily Galindo, and this is Biz Talk on Now Media Television. Let's dive back into the conversations that move business forward. Welcome back to Biz Talk. Loving what you're watching? Don't miss a moment of Biz Talk on any of your favorite Now Media TV shows, live or on demand, anytime, anywhere. Download the free Now Media TV app on Roku or iOS and enjoy instant access to all of our full lineup of bilingual programming in both English and Spanish. If you prefer to listen on the go, catch the podcast version of this show right on the Now Media TV website at www.nowmedia.tv. From business and breaking news to lifestyle, culture, and everything in between, Now Media TV is streaming 24/7, ready whenever you are. And then we are back with Andrew McKain, CEO of McCain Power Systems. Beyond rentals and installations, Andrew's team works daily with businesses whose equipment has quietly aged into a liability. This segment looks at an often overlooked threat: aging power systems that fall under pressure, and especially in this Houston, South Texas weather, can be a potential dangerous situation. Yes,
absolutely.
And so, what is it really a ticking time bomb? Like, if I've got how long does a generator last?
Just depends. It's kind of like old refrigerators. They don't make them like they used to, right?
Okay.
So the newer ones are worse than the older ones, but usually 20 to 30 years is typically for a standby application, is what they tend to cycle out at that point.
Okay, and if one of our viewers has got a unit right now they bought 15 years ago,
yeah.
Or where is that window of going, yeah, I might need to have this looked at or serviced?
Yeah, well, you should have it on an annual maintenance contract. So just keeping somebody out there, whether it's us, there's so many people here in the Houston market that can take good care of your generator. So having, typically 2 to 3 times a year, having it serviced, looked at, making sure that it's up and running, making sure that it's cycled. Generators are, believe it or not, they're for backup, but they're meant to be run, and they're meant to be run at full load. So if you are lightly loading or not running your generator, it's actually worse for it. Mm-hmm. It needs to be running hard, under load, and a lot of times during the maintenance cycle, 2 times we'll go out, check everything, making sure levels are good, batteries are charged, just the normal things that anybody would look at on your car. And then we'll go out there, and then typically there's a major where you're doing, oil change, filter change, coolant flush, and then you're actually doing a load test. So you're taking it off your building load, and you're putting an artificial load on there to that generator at full load, making sure that it's 100% capable of running everything in your building, putting it back online, and then doing a building transfer test. Once all that's done, you can have peace of mind that it was done correctly, and that it should come on. There's mechanical and electrical issues always that could happen, but you're giving yourself the best chance to make it run. So a 15-year-old unit, it should run just fine if you have a maintenance contract. If you're not paying attention to it, you're redheaded stepchild, you're putting it away, it's probably not going to start and run.
Right. I was just going to, it's a machine just like
Mm-hmm.
any other, right?
Yep.
And so just like old cars, you got to go out and start them and take them for a spin every once in a while. Although I do think I watch Formula One racing, mm-hmm. and so they are finely tuned machines that
yes.
are maintained and put together with like extreme precision. Mm-hmm. And even on race day, the button doesn't work.
Yep.
And I'm like, what is like? Is that just the life of being in mechanics?
That's it. You could do everything right. We've had units where, our guys, nobody's perfect, right? So, we'll have things that we service, test, run. It gets out to site, doesn't start, starts and isn't producing load. Stuff happens when it's rolling down the street, right? If it's on a trailer.
Sure.
But even, you could have 1.5 old batteries, and the battery charger somehow just is 10 years old. That goes out. Now those batteries are online, right? That are because you constantly have power going to that piece of equipment, even though it's not running, right? So that when you lose utility power, that generator will come on. So those batteries may have died because the battery charger died 3 days after you left and did your service on it, and it was working at that period of time.
Right.
So things happen, stuff happens. It's just, can you pick up the pieces? Can you take care of that customer once it doesn't kick on, and how fast can you get on the phone and get over there?
Right. Okay. Which you guys are obviously are willing to do, and your company's
absolutely.
great at all the. I mean, there are some. Everybody varies differently, but I've heard and we know that you have a great company that does that.
Appreciate that.
And so, what is the best pay? So I'm hearing you say, like, obviously the maintenance contract. If I haven't had my thing maintenance, like. I don't have a generator for my business, but I do have a house that has a generator in it, and it's just sitting in the garage. I don't know when the last time we touched it was. Is that a common situation, not just in my home, but like business owners? Is that what they do?
So if there's especially being here in Houston, right, we get lots of hurricanes, big storms. We'll get calls the week ahead of a storm coming, and that is the worst time because everybody's calling during that time. So I think having a plan as an individual or a business, and just saying, even if it's once a year, right? Taking it out, running it at a proposed time. Let's say you spend $500, right? It's just once a year, pull it out, get somebody to come. It takes 2 hours, 3 hours of their time plus travel to get there. But they're starting it, they're running it, they're checking the carburetor. If you're having one in your garage, it's one of those pull starts probably, or the electric.
I know that we had to put it outside the garage door.
Yes, it's probably like a gasoline generator.
Yes.
You typically don't need a maintenance contract for that. Y'all can do all that yourself. But even some training, right? So if you don't know how to do it, you can call companies like ours or some, hey, can we pay 2-3 hours of your time to come teach us how to do this and how to do it properly? Because you're still producing power. You're still producing things that if you have kids around or pets or anything, they can kill you. So you have to be safe when you do it, right? You make sure that it's grounded properly. If it's outside, it's during a storm, it's raining, you're producing electricity. Electricity and water do not work.
That's
right?
I do know that, and I heard like the people in the house talking about like the grounding and making sure you undo this for the house, and I'm like, I thought you just plugged it in and we got to use the electricity.
Yeah,
how magical.
Yeah, no, I think a maintenance contract is huge for businesses, even for households if you have a permanent install. But for that kind of scenario, where you have one in your garage, and a lot of people have those, right? They're 5,000 watt, 8,000 watts that you can hook up. I think just getting in touch with a company that can come out and say, hey, during not busy time, whenever you can, come out and have one of your electrical, we call them E-techs, come out there and do some training with us. And my husband and I or whoever can know how to use this responsibly and correctly so that if you hook it up to the panel and you're backfeeding to the grid, that's no bueno. The guys working on the power lines, that's how those guys die, is people plug in their generators and they're backfeeding into the grid while those guys are working on power lines. It's not good. So making sure that breakers and all that stuff are operational, so there's protection on both sides of it. So there's protection for your household items, there's protection down on the utility side, and there's protection for you, right? You and the people operating it. So I think some good maintenance contract, but also training, right? For businesses or if you have an on-site maintenance guy that has no idea about power generation, it can be dangerous, right? I even, like I'm the owner, I walk out and I'm like, y'all go ahead and close that breaker. Like guys that do it every day, like I don't do it every day, right? So I want guys that are experienced and know how to do that, to operate those. And then if I was going to have that, I'd have somebody come out and teach me how to do it and to do it right. Okay.
And so if we got the maintenance, when do you think, because especially here, we've got lots of, as we've mentioned, hurricanes and such. I'm assuming off hurricane season is when we should be doing all of these things.
Yeah, I think so. When we set up our maintenance contracts, it's usually 2 to 3 times a year, right, that we go out and visit. And it depends on, some people want quarterly, right? If it's life safety, and that's super important for like a hospital or something, it's going to be quarterly, going out there making sure that we're checking that things, checking all the systems quarterly. But most people typically April, May before hurricane season kicks off, and then typically Q3 into Q3, Q4 before the cold season starts. So that way you're checking it ahead of time, and you can take care of any issues then if there are, and it just has the best, you're creating the best success for that person or for that company, for that unit to come on and save them revenue or time or AC or whatever it is, heat. So it could be kind of life and death situations in some of those instances.
Absolutely. I mean, we've seen that 115 degrees all the way down to freezing temperatures. We just aren't prepared either direction. So let's say somebody's doing all of this, they've turned on their generators and they've tried to test them and all of that. What is a clear telltale sign that I need to call you to maybe come out and set up a maintenance opportunity?
It doesn't kick on.
Okay,
right?
well, I guess that one works.
Most of the time, right? It's simple, right? You ran it out of fuel, or the batteries are dead. That is like the most maintenance calls that we get, and it's the simplest things. It's the easy things. So, like I said, the battery charger is dead, and it's not charging the battery. So, therefore, the batteries got sucked dry, and you ran it out. Or if it's a diesel generator, you ran it out of fuel. I had a guy call me. He was leaving. He had it on the site. He bought a generator from me, and it was like 6 months later. He's like, "Hey, middle of the night, this thing cut off." And I'm like, and he's driving away from the site. And I said, "Okay, did you check if it has fuel in it?" And he goes, "No, let me turn around." He turned around, ran it out of fuel. I'm like, there's your problem.
There it is.
Don't run it out of fuel. So typically, yeah, just jump ahead of it, right? Make a plan. It's one of those things that nobody wants to deal with. I kind of call it like an insurance policy.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to sign up for insurance. They don't want to spend time to change insurance policies. But if you don't have that insurance, when something bad happens, then you're paying out of pocket, right? And it's usually a lot more. So if you think about it like that, it's still important. Make a plan for it. Call somebody, get somebody out, and let somebody come that you can trust and that can get out there and help you maybe create a long-term plan.
Okay.
So
thank you so much. I mean, like that, just taking care of things and being proactive is really the advice here. I mean, because it's not that we aren't ever going to lose power again, because that's not the thing. That's going to happen no matter what. And
Absolutely.
so you are here to help us with that. So I'm going to keep you around for a little bit, because if it doesn't kick on and it's not the battery and it's not the fuel, then maybe it's time to upgrade and talk about what we do with our old equipment and how we can upgrade so that we are never in a situation without power and losing lots of money in business. We'll be right back after this. We are just getting started. Stick around and we'll be right back with more lessons, insights, and behind-the-scenes stories from the people driving real business forward. You're watching Biz Talk, only on Now Media Television.